My name is Michael Flores. I'm the User Technology Manager from Selco. We provide a lot of the IT systems for the libraries. I deal with a lot of the user technology and security. So I work with Linda quite a bit. This is the first session in the Winona Digital Literacy, and we're going to kick off and talk about phishing because it's summer, it's Winona, and of course phishing is the topic of the day. But we're not going to talk about actual phishing, we're going to talk about information phishing. So what is phishing? Phishing usually comes in the form of a fake email designed to get your personal information. They always want you to click on something. It always looks urgent. They always make it look good. And we're going to talk a little later, but it's not always email. So what does phishing do? Well, it does a variety of really awesome things. Once you click on the thing, or sometimes you even open the email, it will hijack your account. It'll take over your account. It will also give you the opportunity to spam your friends. It'll look through the address book of your email and send email to all your friends, so it kind of perpetuates itself. And of course, the thing they're looking for is your personal information. Identity theft is kind of what they're going for. Or in some cases, it's also a virus or malware, but we'll talk about that next Monday. Okay. And again, if you have questions, go ahead and stop me, and we can. I like discussions. So.
How do you spell your name? F-L?
F-L-O-R-E-S.
Okay.
Yep.
And you're with Selco, not
Yep.
the library. Okay.
Correct. All right. So when you get one of these suspicious emails, it's going to look legitimate. It might even come from someone you know. So whenever you get an email, you want to go through kind of this list and understand when it comes to your computer, your account. It doesn't always matter what antivirus you're running or anything like that. I mean, those are always helpful. But once you click it, you give permission to that. It gets your account information. So you are your own best antivirus. Being able to identify some of these things and being very cautious is your best course of defense. So the first thing you want to look at is, did they send it to you? A lot of times these emails will be sent to, you won't even see your email. They'll be like blank copy, you want it, or you'll just get it. Are you expecting it? You know, is the email something you were expecting? Were you expecting the cat picture from your cousin? Or not? And of course, we'll look through some examples, but did they address you by name? A lot of times they don't use your name, because again, it's just a generic template. They're just trying to get you to click and open it. So they don't have your name. And you want to look for misspelling and grammar mistakes. And while none of us are really good at that, some are better than others, that's a good indicator. And of course, if the email has a link in it, if you don't click it but hover your mouse over it, you'll see where the link goes. And it may not go exactly where you think it goes.
That won't?
No, if you click it. As long as you hover over it, don't click it, just hover your mouse over it, you'll see the link. And of course, these emails always write themselves to be something urgent. Your bank account has been hacked. Please click to recover it. Or you need to change your password. Click here. Most companies and businesses are not going to contact you via email for that information. And if you're not sure, don't go through the email. If you think it might be something legitimate, contact your bank or contact whoever you think this is from and see if they sent it to you. But do it from a new one. We'll talk more about that. So let's look at some examples. Here's a good one, an Amazon one. The first thing you'll notice is they said, "Dear client." You'll also notice it didn't come from an Amazon email account. It's spelled M-A-Z-O-N Canada, not Amazon. And a lot of emails like Gmail or Yahoo, you can actually see some of this information before you even open the email. And here's exactly what I was talking about. The link looks legitimate here, but if you hover over it, it goes to redirect Karosky. See what I mean?
We can't see it. Can you make it any bigger back there?
Let me see if I can.
That's better.
Okay. The slides are a little harder to manipulate. All right, so looking at this one, again, dear customer, What's interesting about this one, this is what you're saying, if you just put your mouse over it, but don't click it, you're gonna get a little window like this. And you can see, it's not going to Nationwide, it's going to,
I didn't even know you could do that.
yeah,
What?
it's going to like www.drink, R-E-Z-E-P-T. So it's not going to Nationwide, so you know right there.
Oh.
And again, a lot of the companies like this are not going to ask for this kind of information via email. And if you are unsure, don't click the link, don't respond to the email. You know, if you are with Nationwide or you contact that company directly. Yes?
That signature ought to give you a clue.
Yes, the signature is another indicator. Very good.
Some guy in India.
Mm-hmm. And this one, I'll see if I can get this one bigger. Yeah, PayFriend, that's maybe a good indicator right there. I'm not very familiar with PayFriend. I know PayPal, but not necessarily PayFriend. And again, looking at this one, urgency, you must. No, if you don't ever have to do anything in an email if you're not expecting it. And again, if you get something like that, don't do it what the email says, contact your company. You know, sometimes I'll get alerts from like a bank saying your credit card statement's available to review. I don't click the email, the link in the email. I'll actually go to my bank and then log in and see if there really is an alert or not. You can, of course, look at the questionable link. You can look down here. It's not, first off, it's not using HTTPS. We're going to talk a little bit about that in the malware virus program. But on websites, normally websites start with HTTP. And that means they're just bouncing information back and forth. If it has an S in it, it's actually securing the traffic back and forth between your computer and the website. It's secure. So that's a good thing to look for, is especially if it's something official, is it using an HTTPS web address? And of course, if you look at the link, it's not PayFriend. It goes to some other uninstide.com. And of course, spelling errors. Question, yes?
So are you saying the HTTPS is more valid?
It's secure. And while that's not necessarily an indicator, because you can make spammy ones, it's something when you're doing web traffic and stuff to keep your eye on, is the website HTTPS, because it means secure. It means the traffic between the website and your computer is encrypted. So if someone was sitting on your network, they wouldn't be able to just read it. HTTP is normal web traffic, that's just back and forth. So like a lot of bank sites, a lot of business websites, including the library site and its catalog, I know this because we did it, is HTTPS.
Okay.
Are these actual samples of
Yes, yes they are.
So HTTPS is good.
Yes, it's good. The think of the S as standing for secure. Now, not all websites have that, and frankly, websites that you're reading and not necessarily logging into or doing things with, that's maybe not as important. But again, we'll cover that more when we get to malware and stuff next Monday. So if you haven't signed up for that, sign up for that one. We'll have a whole talk about HTTPS. Questions? All right, so let's talk about what you can do. So if you get an email and you're not sure what it is, or you're not expecting it, or it looks fishy, I just delete it. I wouldn't even mess with it. I don't need to see a picture of my sister's puppy if I'm not sure that she sent it or not. My sister has cats, so I know right there. If you get some of them and you know they're illegitimate, mark them as spam. You know what that does, especially in email servers like Yahoo or Google, is when you mark it as spam, they learn. And so you're submitting that to Google so that they recognize it as spam, so the next time when these emails come in, you may not see them at all.
Okay, so what if it's an email you should be getting and it like goes to your spam? Because I've had that happen.
Yep.
And they're like, well, we sent it.
Yep. No,
I
that's,
don't see it.
and again, I love Dr. Who, so I'm going to quote the fourth Dr. Tom Baker. Computers are sophisticated idiots. They do exactly what we tell them to do. That's exactly what they're doing. They see some of those emails, someone else on the email server may have marked something similar to spam, and so the server itself thinks it is spam. And what you can do is look for them in the spam folder. If they're legitimate, go in and you can actually mark them as not spam. And again, you want to do that because it's going to teach your server not to mark those as spam. And it may take a while because the servers, like all of us, learn at a different paces. Yes?
Where do you go to look at a spam email?
Depending on what email provider you have, like Yahoo or Gmail, Hotmail, there's going to be, if you look in your folders,
Yeah.
there should be a spam folder in there.
Really?
Yeah. And you might have to look, like sometimes, like in Google, I'm more of a Google person, you actually have to, there's like a show more link to show more folders. And so it might actually be in there. I always like to go in there and look and make sure there isn't anything legitimate and then clean the folder out.
It says mark emails as spam. How do you mark them as spam?
Okay, depending on your email provider, because they're all a little different. Again, I'm going to speak Google because I'm more of a Google. You can actually check it, and you can actually do the drop down and say mark as spam.
Okay.
Or if you go into the email, there's usually a button that says mark as spam.
Same for HBCI.
Possibly, depends how you're doing your email and what email client you're using. Because that's the problem with email is everyone's a little different. Yes.
I'm through HBC, and they have a really good feature with their emails. They separate. They've got a program that they automatically separate your junk mail and your spam and your spoofs, so they're all in one place.
Yep.
And so then you don't have to be bothered with them, and you can just go and delete them out.
Yep, and that's a good thing to do too. Like I said, usually like in Google it's called spam, but junk is another terminology they use. It's the same kind of folder. Yes?
We have HBC, but our email comes through AOL, and I've had it for like 20 years.
Yeah.
And now they're gonna start charging. And if I switch to another provider, like Google is Chrome, isn't it?
Not necessarily. If you're getting, I have a feeling you're getting your email from HBC, right? Is your email, what's your email address? Is it at?
At AOL.com.
Okay. With AOL, I'll tell you a story. We used to have DSL when my wife and I first moved to Rochester and we got internet at home, and then we moved to Charter, and it was a pain to update. And when we did that, we moved to Google because I wanted something that was ISP independent. It wasn't attached to HBC or AOL. I wanted something that was going to move with me. So if I go Charter or HBC or whatever, or the public Wi-Fi at the library, it's web-based, so it doesn't matter what service I'm using. And so that's why I went Gmail. But like Hotmail's another good one, Yahoo.
Your Gmail, like you said, your Google, is that?
Google, Gmail's made by Google.
I see.
Yep, and Gmail is one, if you sign up for a Gmail account, again, this could be a whole other class. In fact, I think Sam was talking about, is you get so much more than just email with Google if you sign up for a Gmail account.
But then do I have to, like, my whole address book?
You have to export it and import it, yep.
And you have to do each one, like?
No, a lot of because AOL, I'm assuming is using a local mail client, you should be able to go into your address book and find a way, look for export. And when you find export, you should be able to export it to a file, create a Gmail account, you should be able to then import. So those are the words in your mail client, because again, I'm more of a Google person, but that's what you're going to look for is the word export.
Now, does St. Mary's University, do they have a website of their own, or like HBCI, they do supply them?
Yep, St. Mary's does supply its own email. It's been many years since I'm actually graduated from St. Mary's, so it's been several years since I've used their system, so I don't know what they're on now, but I know they do have their own email server.
It's smumn.edu.
Yep.
So
Yep,
I guess that represents St. Mary's.
Yes. Yep, and that's their own system, so.
Like we have two on our computer. I have mine, and mine is on Google, I think. My husband's on SMU, so.
And that's okay. Like I said, you're just getting your email from different
Yeah, I have
providers.
an iPad, that's all.
Oh, yep, yep. And yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to mobile devices, but. Cool. So, like I said, contact the sender if you're not sure. Another thing I like to use is a recovery email. A lot of times when you set up your email account, they're going to ask you for a recovery email, or even nowadays they'll ask you for like a recovery phone number to text to verify it's you. A lot of cases it's easy to set your recovery email to the same as your email you have, so that your recovery email is the same. A lot of providers are actually stopping you from doing that. It's always, like I have a separate email account that I don't actually use or give out, and it's just for my recovery. And part of the reason I do that is because, we're going to talk about this more when we get to our other topics, is if someone gets your information, if you click the link and they get your email account, they're going to get your password. If you're like most of us, you've probably used your email account to register for Amazon, Facebook, and how many of you use different passwords, and how many of you use different email accounts when you did that. So if you do click this and they get your information, they don't just get your email account. If you use your same email address and use the same password, like for Amazon or Facebook, guess what else they got access to? Because now they can go to Facebook and Amazon, try the information they know. In fact, I had someone who used the same information, the same personal email account for their iTunes account. How many of you did that? And the same password. And what happened is she clicked the link, they got her email, she changed her email password, but she never remembered to go back and change her iTunes password. And guess what they did? Like 2 days later, her iPad locked, because they had logged into her iCloud account and they had locked her iPad and sent a message, email this if you want your iPad back. Now luckily you can reset and stuff, and she was able to recover. The thing, and of course the other naughty thing she did is she saw the email from Apple and kind of ignored it, saying your password was changed. Are you sure you did this? She just went whatever. And then guess what? So that's something to be careful of, and that's why you want to use a different recovery email address, because a lot of times the password, they'll just start going through resetting your, like they'll even go to Amazon, use your email account. Even if you did use a different password, they reset it. Where does that reset go? It goes back to your email. That's why I use a separate recovery email. Because once you get the reset, it goes back to your email, they have control of your main email account. They can then reset the Amazon password.
So are you supposed to use this recovery email when you use iTunes and Amazon, or?
That's what I typically do. I have a special email account I don't use for anything other than recovery. It has a crazy password.
Recovery, what do you mean?
What I mean is it's a second email account. It could be with Hotmail, it could be with Gmail, it could be, but it's not my main email account. I use it only for this purpose. I give it out to no one. But when I register for Amazon, I give them my main email account as my user ID, but then as my recovery email, I list that one. So if they do reset it and they have access to my main email account, that reset email is going to go to a different email so they don't get it.
Lost me.
It's a protective measure.
It's a paranoid protective measure. So I created a whole separate email account just for password resets.
So when you sign up for it, you're giving it sign up for a new email, don't give it to anybody, is what I'm saying. And then use that
as your recovery.
So when you log in with your regular email.
Yep.
And when they say, what do you want as your backup or your recovery, that's the one you give.
Yep. And that way, if they do get your main email account, and they go to Amazon and they reset it,
Amazon's going to send it to your recovery
email, and then
so
they don't
you're going to get it, not the bad guy.
Yep.
So you gotta check this recovery account.
Very rarely.
Oh.
Only if you know you're
Only
resetting.
if you feel something's not right.
Right.
When the
Or
hairs
if you-
stand up on the back of your neck and you know what's wrong,
Yeah.
start watching.
Or if you did want to or if you did forget your
You've got
password and
smarter
reset your
hairs.
account,
Yeah.
then you check, of course, your recovery email.
Sometimes you just get
So
that
that's,
feeling
do
it
you
ain't
think
right.
that's safer than using a smartphone number then?
A lot of places do use smartphone numbers. and actually, you're gonna bring me right to that. A lot of places are starting to use phones to verify. They're also starting to use two-factor authentication. And two-factor authentication is when, to log into a site, and again, Facebook has started doing this, Twitter, you need your username, you need your password, and you need your phone. Because when you go to log in, they are going to text you. And the logic is that a hacker is not going to have your phone. This is something everyone kind of keeps on them most of the time. And so that way you'll get the text, and that way even if they did get your username and password, they still cannot log in. Because you're going to get texted a special code that they need to put in. And you're also going to know someone's trying to get in your account if you get a text and it's like, I didn't sign in.
So is this your iPhone or your regular phone?
It would be a
Smartphone.
smartphone, so Android,
So,
iPhone.
Like I don't have a smartphone.
Yep, so that might be a little tricky, like a home phone won't work.
So what they
You
call
probably-
my home number?
Some of them do. Some of them will do like a phone call and they'll leave a message saying you need to type
Then
in
you
your
for
name.
sure want a recovery email.
Yeah, then you for sure want a recovery. She's getting it.
So it says here, two-factor authentication.
Yep, that's probably
Finish
for,
setting up two-factor.
yep, that's for iCloud. So that would be, every service is different and everyone has two-factor authentication. iTunes, much like the story I told about the iCloud, which is Apple, you can set two-factor authentication up on Apple, which means if someone, like my friend, did get your username and password and logged into your cloud account to do things to your iPhone or your iPad, they wouldn't be able to because you have two-factor enabled.
So I just should push that and then they'll tell me what to do.
It'll walk you through it, yeah. Okay.
So what happens with the two-factor authentication? I mean, like, so you're holding your iPhone in your hand and that's enough, or you get a text on it?
What it does, there's a couple ways to do it. You log into the website, so you put in your username and password, and then, like for Twitter, you get a text with a code on it. And Twitter's going to ask you for that code before they let you log in. And so you have to have your phone and type in the code. There are some that, and I'll be naughty, there's some that actually give you, like Dropbox, that give you a generator. You can actually download a generator on your phone. So I don't get a text, I actually pull up in the generator. So if you know my username and password, you have 12 seconds. Here's the code, go. So that's,
What if you're logging in on your phone?
that's what that neat little blue button is. That's the copy button.
Oh,
And then what?
okay.
And then you go, because when you log into the app on your phone, you put in your username and password, and then they're going to ask you for the code. And you can just hit copy, a little blue button, and then go back in and click on the app and then hit paste.
So those,
Or even if you get a text, you can usually copy and paste those.
they only last like 20 seconds.
That's right.
Take
In
a
fact, you got 4,
screenshot.
3, 2, 1.
I use screenshot
Yeah,
a
we
lot.
got-
What is screenshot now?
You got another 30 seconds.
Yeah, how do you take a screenshot?
Screenshot, you can just, if you hold, on an iPhone, if you hold down power and the side power button at the same time,
Oh, there
it'll take a picture of the screen.
Then you got it.
You hold down,
For the 12 seconds, yeah.
hold down power and what?
The power and the home button on your iPhone.
Side and phone.
Yep, that'll
So
take a
don't-
picture of
Don't ever
everything.
think something is gonna be there for a few seconds and gone, because somebody can screenshot
But then this nice thing with
You just
the,
hold these two things.
at the same time.
And
It
what-
takes a little practice,
It takes
because
a
I didn't do very good at
takes a
first, but I
picture.
got it now.
it takes a picture of what's on your screen.
Yeah.
Oh,
So yeah, and those codes expire after 30 seconds. So
yeah.
that's another great way to
Makes
secure
you
it.
nervous.
And we're going to talk a little bit more about some cooler things you can do with that when we talk about passwords on Thursday. All right, I think we're ready. And of course, if you do click on something you're not sure, the first thing you want to do is change your password. Like on literally everything, especially if you know, if you're like a lot of people and you have that one password and everything has the one password, and you click on a thing or you think you might have got hacked, change your password on everything.
Some like Merchants Bank, they just change your password every 3 months.
Yep, some
And
places
boy,
do
does
that.
that mess up stuff.
Well, Thursday we're going to talk about some options
Yeah.
for that. So, but like I said at the beginning, while the main attack of phishing is email, it isn't just email. You know, everything is phishing for your information. For example, you all signed our nice sign-up sheet. Thank you. But, so we're going to talk about some of the things. Websites, again, you go to the wrong website, they install malware, they can get your information, you accidentally log into it. Social networking, Facebook. One of my favorite things that I avoid on Facebook because they're so notorious for this is quizzes. Everyone loves to take quizzes on Facebook because they want to know what kind of pony they are or what color cat they most associate with. Well, a lot of those quizzes are malicious. So while you might come out finding you're a calico, you might also have given your personal information and access to your Facebook account to the hackers. And much like email, guess what? All your friends on Facebook are going to get an awesome little message saying, hey, I just took this quiz, you should too. And the notorious thing is, once you give access in Facebook, they get access to your account. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Text messages. Even texting isn't safe anymore. Random text messages you get, you want to be careful of. And even a good old-fashioned one, the phone call. Yes, that's right. Even if you have a smartphone, the hackers still like to call you every once in a while.
If you don't recognize it, don't answer it.
Exactly.
I get them from all over the world.
Yeah.
So what can you do to make web browsing a little safer? You're going to use a more secure web browser. I prefer Firefox or Chrome.
What's Firefox?
Firefox is made by Mozilla. It actually is more of an open source browser. They're very dedicated to security. I, of course, am a Google fanboy, so I live in the Chrome world a little more.
I do too, but that's why I was asking what Firefox is.
Now, what would you use them in lieu of? You're saying you use Chrome or Firefox. Would you use that instead of
Safari?
HTC or AOL?
Oh no, this is just your browser. This would be like instead of Internet Explorer
Or Safari.
or Safari.
Or AOL, that's,
AOL, I think, had its own browser once upon a time. I would not use that. Because there's a
How do you know if
difference.
they're secure or not?
I don't know.
He's telling me those two.
Yep, these two I tend to lean towards, and the reason why is because they, in addition to being secure in and of themselves, they also allow you to add in some extra plugins that help with security. Two of my favorites, you can install what's called an ad blocker. In both of these, you can have one of them is called Ad Blocker Plus, and what this and uBlock Origin.
How do you get to that kind of stuff?
In Chrome, it's in the web store. Go into the apps and web store. In Firefox, you want to look for extensions. If you go into your settings and extensions. These two, I tend to lean more towards this one. Both of these are good. What they do is, how many of you guys have surfed the internet and you went to a website and up pops the ad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that annoying?
Right.
Or you lost the whole third of your Yahoo email because they decided to show you designer shoes that day.
Oh,
Well,
yeah?
these guys are great because they purposely block this information. And while this is important not only because it's less annoying, but a lot of times ads are malicious. A lot of, I'm going to pick on the Post-Bulletin in Rochester a few years ago. They, on their website, much like many big websites, even MSNBC, they sell advertising space. But they don't always track who, they just sell the space on the web page that the little ad shows up. Well, the Post-Bulletin a few years ago had someone paid to have advertising space, and guess what? They were hackers. So when their little flash ad showed up, and it infected your computer. So this is why this creates a great barrier against that. It's helpful. Again, you're going to find a lot of the themes and things. We're going to cover a lot of the same common sense stuff. But you want to keep your browser and your computer updated.
I mean, every update you get, you should install it.
Yes.
Yep. Keep your browser and your computer updated. Again, like we talked about, if you're not sure of a link, even if you're in a Google search or whatever, and it says one thing, doesn't mean that's actually where it goes. Don't be afraid to just put your mouse over it. Don't click it. Be very careful. Just put your mouse over it and look for that pop-up and see where it's really going. And of course, HTTPS, which we talked about earlier. Because yes stands for
Security.
Thank you.
Now, you're telling us that we should update at all times. Well, I get so many proposals and so many offers to update that I couldn't even turn
This
that
is when you're
machine
turning it
off.
off.
Yep. You
When
wanna
turn it
update,
off, it tells you, don't shut it off because it's gonna do an update, do the update. Cause that's what's keeping you safe.
yep, so I'm only talking about your computer and your browser. So if Chrome or Firefox wants to update, let it. If your computer wants to update when you shut down or whatever, let it. If you open an email and they say, we've updated our shoes and you should click this link, no, don't do that. That's bad. I'm only talking computer and browser. And of course, we'll talk about antivirus.
So how do you get Chrome or Firefox?
You just go to Google, just go to the internet, like if you're using AOL, open AOL and look for Chrome and you'll find it.
And that's Google.
Mhm.
Chrome.
Yep, Chrome is Google.
Would you explain, what does URL stand for?
Oh, that's a good question. It's been so long since I've looked at it. It's
an
your web address. Yeah, I looked it up once and I can't remember, but URL basically is the web address. Like the library is winona.lib.mn.us. That's their URL. And of course they are HTTPS because Linda's very security conscious.
So you have to change your name, like it's my name at AOL.
No,
so
no,
the
we're not talking email address. We're talking web address. So I'm not talking like your at email. I'm talking about your
This is
www.google.com
Google versus,
or
the Internet Explorer.
www.firefox.com. That's
This
it.
is
That's a
where mine
URL.
comes up.
That is what?
This is Google Chrome. Oops, see how it looks, this is Google.
But then what's your name on that?
It isn't, it's just where you
Yep.
can go and look at other things.
It's just the program you
Safe.
launch to look at the web internet. That's what a browser is. It's just the program you launch to look at the internet. It's not your email. Those are different.
Oh, see, my email is right there.
Yep.
And then there's all these other different things you can go.
So yeah, when I say Firefox and Chrome, that is literally just a browser. Those are browsers. Those are what you use to go to the internet. It's not necessarily your email. But if you access your email from a website, then you would still use one of those two. Okay. Questions? Social media, I already talked about quizzes and suspicious links. Again, it happens every few months. There seems to be another rash of those. If you click on one, or just for good practice, it's good in your Facebook or Twitter, go through into your settings and you can actually look at what apps have access to your account. If you do not recognize it, immediately remove it. So in your settings in Facebook, you'll see where it says like apps and websites, and you can look through and it'll show you, Facebook will show you what apps and websites you've given your Facebook account permission to. If you don't recognize it, or even if you do recognize it, and you're like, I don't really care about what color cat I am, go ahead and remove it. And of course,
Where do you find that?
Yeah.
I use
don't-
Facebook, so.
Alright, well I'll try and show you this. I don't have internet, and I don't have my login, because of course my Facebook's two-factor. But if you click on the little,
Here,
little
I
icon at the
trust you.
top. Alright. So if you go to Facebook, if you click on here, the three bars, you're going to want to look for app settings. Make sure that's the right one. Maybe that wasn't the right spot. Account settings. There we go. So it'd be the three bars, account settings, apps, and then you can look through what they have access to. I'm a little more familiar with the iOS app.
I have an Android.
Yes, you do. So, here we go. So if you look under platforms, there should be, under edits, it's not showing me a list. Normally it shows you a list. And if you use a web browser, it'd show you maybe a little more.
Maybe.
should be
So when you're in settings, what do you look, oh, apps?
where, apps, you wanna look for apps.
Got it.
And eventually you're gonna find a place where it shows you everything that's connected to your Facebook account. And then in there, you can go through and select it. If you don't recognize it, remove it.
Oh my gosh.
Did you find it?
Yeah, I have 32 people, or 32 something.
Apps.
Jeez.
Yep, so you might want to review those, and if you don't recognize it or you're unsure, they're not necessarily going to be people, they're going to be like services or websites or things like that. If you don't recognize it or unsure, remove it.
It should be in settings, apps.
Here, take a look.
No, I know what I gotta do.
I feel like there's two people here that understand him.
No, you want to be in Facebook, not
Oh.
iPhone. We're only talking about Facebook right now.
Oh, I thought you were nice.
See, I tell mine.
There's settings on Facebook.
Don't
Can,
put anything
So 3
on
bars,
email
settings.
Of any value.
3 bars wide.
No, you can't.
2 bars at the bottom?
Oh, that's settings?
Yep,
That's somebody you can.
that'll take you in here, and then you
The only thing that's safe is the thing that's in your back pocket.
you can go into.
As long as nobody picks your pocket to do it.
Settings?
Yep, go in there.
But sadly,
settings.
this is what the world is right now.
In here.
So you have to learn to live in it. That's sad.
But I see always,
Daryl?
it's
All
always
the
get
websites.
this email
And we go log
over.
into
See that,
Facebook, and then you can
send
look.
that.
Those are the apps you've given access to your Facebook account.
At least if you're talking, you can lie to them.
I'm just saying, oh,
And if you don't have your mobile device, don't worry, you can play around with this in your browser at home.
And the one.
Apps interact with Facebook.
Put a browser in.
It's the program you use to get to the internet. All right. So next one we're going to talk about, if you guys are ready, texting. As I said,
Yeah.
it's not just email.
I won 2 of those things the other day and I just clicked the X.
Yep, that's smart. The other thing is, depending on your phone, you can also block the number is coming from.
Really?
Yes. Well, you have an Android, but usually there's a place once it comes up there. On the Apple, there's like an eye, and in there you can go in there and block contact. But one thing is you might get something like this. Someone's got your phone number. They send you a text. Click here for congratulations. You've won. You know, WalmartClick.com. You know, $1,000. Who doesn't want $1,000 at Walmart?
Right.
So of course we would click this. No, we wouldn't. So you don't want to open it. Much like email, if you get a text, you don't even have to open the text. If you see it's malicious or it's someone you don't know, just delete it. Just delete the text. Don't even open it. My wife and I, years ago, had to put a special PIN because we started getting texts from one of these, and it was the kind that once you open the text, it would grant access to your AT&T account. And so we actually went to AT&T and set up like a special PIN number so it couldn't do that. Things have evolved since then, but they're going to ask you for personal information because they want you to click the link. Because I'm sure if we click this link, to get our $1,000, we would need to give them our name, our email, social security number, password, keys to our house. So you want to be careful. Just like email, if you don't recognize it, just delete it.
So we're supposed to reply stop to that?
No.
No?
No.
Mine had an X in the corner and I just clicked the
I wouldn't
X.
even reply to it.
Don't reply?
Don't
Well,
even, don't
it
even
says
open it. When you get a text, you will see, at least on iPhone, you can kind of see some of the text right there without
Right.
even opening it.
Right,
You can just slide to delete.
okay, yeah.
But no, don't reply.
Oh.
Don't click the link. All right. Phone calls. This is a fun one, and I believe one of you was talking about someone remoted in your computer and fixed a bunch of stuff. One of the great scams that have gone around is Microsoft, believe it or not, will call you at home and tell you there's a problem with your computer. And they will walk you through downloading a program that will give them, no, Microsoft's never going to call you, don't ever believe that. But they walk you through, they say there's something wrong with your computer, they get you to download a program that gives them access to your computer, and guess what? Now they can remotely go into your accounts and get all your stuff. So phone calls, again, if you don't, like you said, if you don't know who it is, don't even answer it. If you do happen to get, because they'll call home phones, this isn't even a smartphone thing. If someone calls you and says that they detected a problem with your computer, it's a scam. No, Microsoft is not gonna be that nice, Google's not gonna be, they're not monitoring you that closely. So just hang up, don't ever do what they tell you, don't download your, whatever software they want. Because a lot of times they'll download a free remote tool, and they'll go right into your computer, install viruses, get your information. Yes?
Does it do any good to block those callers?
It does. If you do get one of those calls, hang up, block them. I do that on my phone too, if I get
I
a
put
call.
them on my auto reject list.
There you go.
What is it?
Auto
How do you
reject.
block it?
On your iPhone, what's really cool is if you get a call,
Yeah.
don't answer it, but once they're done, you're gonna get you'll see a recent history. And there's a little
Yeah.
blue eye next to them.
Yep.
Oh, let's see, I can't really block it on. If you click the eye, on the iPhone at least, it's gonna pull up this window of the contact. And at the very bottom, it's block this caller.
I see
Yep.
this one, it says.
Okay.
And you can block them, which means if they call you from that number again,
Mine
it's not
doesn't.
gonna ring. They're not gonna text you, they're not gonna
accidentally
do.
blocked
You pull up your
myself.
recent calls, is
Yep.
that,
Yeah.
mine doesn't say
So
block.
we couldn't text.
Nope, if you bring up your recents.
Yeah, I've got it.
All right, so let's look at a number. Yep, so all you have to do is hit the I.
Oh,
That's not what it's hard to upset. But you want to hit the little green I.
Well,
And at the very bottom,
Yeah, hit the
Oh.
anyone. And then,
right here.
yeah.
of course, on your home phone, that's a little harder to do if you have a landline. If you do get calls, you can usually tell it's an automated voice. Or if you answer the phone and there's a pause, just hang up.
Can you hear me?
Don't say anything though, because sometimes if you say yes or something, they'll use your voice for other things. So,
See on mine, I just put them right here in the auto reject. This one's already.
oh, yours
The
is.
bottom one says auto reject, and you click there and
It's at the
they're in
bottom.
auto
Scroll
reject
all the way to
right
the
now,
bottom.
because right now if I
block
did it,
this
it
caller,
remove
it'll
it.
say block
Yeah.
contact.
Somebody from Ohio
I'm gonna
called me.
block this
There you go.
caller, because it's from Buffalo.
Now you can go back to your
You will
phone and
not
just
receive
ignore that,
phone calls or
and they can't
FaceTime.
call you again.
Block it. And then it's gotta cancel, so that I can cancel blocking.
Right. I'm sure it's nobody that's supposed to be calling you.
Buffalo, Illinois.
Yeah, you can usually tell. The nefarious thing is a lot of them are getting more local numbers. Like I live in
Yeah,
Rochester, and you'll get something, you're like, this might be,
How do they get your own number? We could have caller ID and it showed up as our number.
yeah, because it's the software they're using. They like to spoof, they'll, and again, if you're calling yourself, that's probably a good indicator that it's a spam call. Or I'm impressed, because I've never been able to call myself.
Well, we got 4 extensions and I
Oh.
thought maybe my husband was calling from the other one.
Yep, a lot of them can spoof that caller ID, so you can't always trust that. In fact, that's a lot of the ways they get what looks like a local number. It may not really even be a local number. Okay, questions? All right, so summary, make yourself a better, safer person online, because again, you're your own antivirus. No matter what you run, no matter how secure you try to be, you really are your best defense. Think before you act. Whenever you get an email or a text or a call, you want to always stop, because trust me, it doesn't matter how techy you are. Even me, at 5 a.m., if I haven't had coffee, I might still click the link. It happens. It only takes that one time, and then there goes the rest of your day. And of course, trust no one. Even if it's your cousin, and you're pretty sure she has these cute cats, you don't always have to trust those pictures. All right. Questions?
How do you get Chrome as your browser? You just go to Google,
Yep, just go to Google.
say, but then when I get that, I've got to put in all new email.
No,
I can
no,
still
it's
use
separate from your
Export.
email. When I
I
say
can still
Chrome,
use AOL.
yep, your AOL email will still be the same. When you get Chrome, that's just the browser you use to surf the internet.
Oh. That's still interesting.
I think what he's
What's
trying
the
to tell you is
advantage,
Chrome
maybe?
is sponsored by Google.
Yes, Chrome is made by Google, much like Android is made by Google. Yes, of course.
What's the advantage of going to
So it's
Chrome
like
rather
buying
than just staying with
A
Google?
Chevy, and then
Again,
there's
they're
different types of things.
things.
Yeah.
Chrome is the browser, it's like
Chevy
Internet
makes it, but-
Explorer, or Firefox, it's just a
So
program that serves the
browser goes
internet.
to different
It's not a Gmail account.
websites, but it
Yes.
has nothing to do with.
Gmail is just a
texting
website,
or
and Chrome is just a
email.
browser.
No.
It's just that it happens that
But
Google
if your
does both.
AOL is gonna start
Doesn't mean you have
charging
to
you,
do
I get a
both.
different
Yeah.
email
But Google
account.
does both.
And
Yeah,
just let
I know.
everybody know
When
that
did
you're
this-
getting a different one.
When did this start?
I just got it on, we got it on our computer last week, that said AOL is having a new, it's, I don't know what they call it, they call it a browser, and that will be start getting charged for.
Yeah.
But
And,
it doesn't say
If you don't,
when.
if you haven't given them your
Yeah.
information, they can't charge you.
and even then, I would question if it's really from AOL to begin with.
Oh,
It might be a phishing scam.
yeah, because I already got
Yeah.
glass in my,
Yeah.
What are we supposed to do with that?
All right, so if you want this presentation, I have a cool QR code, or I have this, if you want to write down, this is a website. This website will take you to my presentation.
HTTP.
Yep, I shortened it, so, and again, you'll notice HTTPS. It won't ask you for any information, I promise. If it does, don't fill it out. But yeah, and again, if you use a QR code reader, this would take you there. But this is just a short version, because it's a lot easier to write that down than with the
So
actual
you could
URL.
use that, read that QR code with your phone and take a picture of it.
Yes.
Do you have to download an app for those QR codes?
No.
No.
Actually, what's
Because
really,
all right.
well,
I thought
to
you-
read them, you typically do.
Yeah.
Oh,
But to generate them, you don't.
well, that's what I meant to read them.
Yep, to read them, yeah, you can just look in the Android Play Store, or the Google Play Store, or the Apple App Store, and
Yeah.
just look for QR code, and you'll have there's tons of readers out there.
Oh.
Yep.
So this is your email address.
That's actually my Twitter handle, for those of you who follow Twitter.
Oh,
Oh, I'd write that down, so.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter.
oh, yeah,
I don't Twitter, so.
Me either.
no.
Is Twitter safer than Facebook?
They're about the same. My 2 cents on Facebook versus Twitter is I use them differently. Facebook is where I keep all my family and friends, and I use Twitter to follow different companies, different security places and stuff. It's my news feed.
Do you Twitter the president?
No, I don't. Because I
Can you
have-
read his Twitters? You
I don't
have
want
to. I mean, could you? If you had a Twitter account,
Yeah.
can you?
Yeah, you could follow
Would
them
you
and
want
see them
to?
if you wanted to.
Only if you do that.
Now that, I have questions about that too. There's friends that put me on different things that I get so much stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, we have to leave.
Okay.